This is how we're looking at the moment, and honestly, I really like this.
Oh, mans. Oh, gangster, what's up?
Just being a gangster.
I can tell. Hood rat gangster.
We gotta go get. I guess we don't need to get straps. We gotta go get the trailer and come back.
Yeah.
All right, so my face is all busted up again doing handstand push-ups. Broke some like blood vessels in my face or something. Trailer's here. Now I know you guys are gonna hate this a little bit, but we're gonna grab the formula cart right now, bring it over to the other garage. We're gonna get the SN95 over here. I have some plans that are going down. I'll tell you about in a little bit. But first step is we've got to move this so I can work on the SN95 temporarily, anyways.
So it's really hard to judge from all of your photos and videos how big this car is.
It's actually pretty big.
Until you put it in the enclosed trailer.
And see how wide it is?
And it's almost wheel arch to wheel arch. Like,
I mean, we're probably gonna need like 2 straps, right?
this thing is big. This thing started. Absolutely no issue. Good job on the motor, Gina.
Oh yeah, so this is the other garage. It's packed full of shit.
Good job on the tune-up, Kyle.
Yeah, F1 cart's coming in here. The SN95's coming out. The Beetle's staying in here. Like everything is in here. Old scooters, older Formula car.
When somebody's like, oh, check out the wheels I just bought for my car. And they post these VMSs and Kyle's like, I got those pieces of shit on my lawnmower.
True.
And then they're like, what?
Gina's fired up right away. Let's see if this one fires up right away.
2 hours later.
Now this one, in there, and the Mustang in the center.
Man, this thing's small. Damn. That's how low it is.
It's in.
It's in. Can't be too heavy if I still freaking drag it across the floor. Well, it gets on the 2-step, Ricky.
Really nicely.
Yeah, that converter change was nice. It's a bit too loose, and we have a stator change to do. But it also is winter time, so it probably makes like 50 more horsepower than it's supposed to.
If anybody wonders what it's like to live in northern Alberta in December or winter, where all the downspouts and stuff come off the garages, the entire alleyway is a complete skating rink.
Now, before we do anything with the car, and before I tell you my plans, we're actually gonna weigh the car just to see what it's like, what we ran it at all last season with the heavy iron block in it, with me in the passenger seat and the hitch on the back. Me in the passenger seat, me in the driver's seat, and the hitch in the back. I wanna know what it's like in drag and drive trim, and I wanna see how light we can get it for the event trim. I'm going to an event. It's gonna be fun. I don't think I've been to an event in the States yet where I brought my own car. But we're gonna weigh it first.
So 3260 without me in it. That's heavy.
All right, so we put me in the car, and the car was definitely a lot heavier than I thought it was, which is crazy because I already thought it was heavy. I thought we were racing 3,350 pounds at Miles of Mayhem. Turns out we were racing at 3,442 pounds. That's how much it weighs right now with me in it. That's not including my race gear or the 20 pounds of fat that I lost since then. So we were racing at 3,450 pounds basically during Miles of Mayhem. Now there's a bit of weight to come out of this thing. I can take the rear hitch off. I can put the air to water, bin that. So that's the plan. While we're doing that is I have 2 main goals with this car for this season. One of my favorite things, I signed up for a race outside Canada. So I signed up for Texas 2K. It's in March and I'm going to plan to be there. So there's no rule stipulation on how light my street car can be in that class, but I have to be lighter than what it is to go faster. My goal is to run a 7-second pass at Texas 2K. So we're gonna need a little bit larger turbocharger, which is fine because, you know, true north turbos. We're gonna run an air-to-air intercooler, and you'll know that for the next reason. And we're gonna get rid of the air-to-water intercooler, we can take the hitch off, so we're gonna lose a bunch of weight out of the car. And the second reason is I want to run limited street this year. And limited street on the West Coast, for me personally, is a 76mm cast wheel turbo. But I want to run an 88 for Texas 2K. So I'm gonna build the turbo kit to be modular so I can run the 76 and the 88. They're both basically the same frames. And then limited street, you're limited to a 255 tire, which I have to get. But you're also allowed to be 3,200 pounds. And you almost need to be 3,200 pounds to be competitive. So that's the goal of the car overall, is if we can get this thing down to 3,200 pounds of race weight with me in it and my gut, that's the plan. But I also want it to be more streetable because I also want to do miles of mayhem. So we're trying to keep street car, we're trying to keep limited street trim, and we're trying to go to Texas 2K. So a bunch of things, but they all kind of have the same goal at the end. Honestly, I've been talking about it too much. I really just want to start tearing this thing down so I can start rearranging it and getting it ready to build again. Talk about making a lot of room. Holy. Giaslo, certified, but not really, because, you know, it's a playoff something else and I don't want to get in trouble. My favorite part ever though is I'm going to be able to turn this throttle body around the other way, and that I think is what I'm looking forward to most. Getting the pipe out from the inside of the car. Like, that just looks like it's going to work better. I hated where it was on the inside. Definitely have to move some of the fuel system, some of the wiring. I plan to get a whole new wiring harness for this car. I just don't want to track down wiring issues. I'd really like to flip the headers also and put them down and forward, but the alternator is down there. So I have to look into like a higher mount alternator maybe? Question mark. Oh yeah, big pipe. Not really that big, but unnecessary. All right, air to water intercooler. Just the intercooler part, 37.4 pounds. It's pretty heavy. That's not including all the water that goes inside of it, or all the water in the lines, or the tank in the back. So I just drained the water out of the air water box, 15.2 pounds, and this is probably like the minimum amount of water that I've ever run. So between that and the air to water intercooler, 50 pounds. Who knew? Plus it's still draining, you can hear it draining back there. Plus that tank weighs something, plus everything that was in the lines and everything that already fell out, because all this water was in the line somewhere too. If there's weight there, we're finding it. Cheap weight, man. I mean, we still have to add the air-to-air intercooler, but at least that's way up on the nose. Helps with like weight balance and stuff. All right, I think I figured something out here. So if we drill 2 more holes in our motor plate just a little bit wider, so I can cut the mount, the steel mount back here a little bit shallower and less lip hanging off. Then I think we can go down and forward with our header over here, and I think it'll still clear the alternator. It'll be close, but I think we'll still clear. So I'm going to drill 2 more holes to get rid of those 2 mounting bolts, and then test fit our header and test fit our alternator at the same time. I think we're just hitting the oil filter now. Yep. It's not looking like it's gonna fit. Not when I bolt it on. Got on that bolt down there. Yeah, no chance. Now, this motor plate should fit around the header, and that means we can bolt this side up. We can bolt this side up and then do the other side, because you can only take one
piece of the motor plate off at a time without really supporting it, because there's a mid plate in it, plus the front motor plate level itself out. Now this one should fit on this side. Alright, so this is how much space we have after we put the radiator in here. I'm not sure if we're going to use this radiator just because of the additions I've welded on, and it's slightly too wide to be more forward. But we've got a 6-inch air-to-air intercooler to replace our air-to-water intercooler, and we're going to see how we can mount this one in there and then see how much space we have after it's mounted. It is going to fit pretty good in the space that we have. So basically the distance of the bottom of the bumper to whatever this piece is like 12 inches, which is how tall the intercooler is. I just wish it would sit further back this way more. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna pull the bumper off. Do I even need to pull the bumper off to cut that? Probably not. Just cut some of this piece right here, like flat and flush, and then that should give us a little bit more room that way to move our intercoolers.
This kind of stank. Oh, look at it now. And now it's just those nubs? Or...
That ain't bad. I think what we're gonna do is put the intercooler exactly like this. I cut some of the bumper out. It leaves probably 2.5 inches here on the lip on the backside. But how we're gonna mount it is we're gonna weld some tabs on the intercooler on the side of the end tank, and then I think we're just gonna try and tie it into the frame rail here of the existing tube front. So just quick little bracket on the arc droid on both sides, and then yeah, it should just be simple hanging it there in the exact right spot, exactly on both sides.
As simple as just
Simple.
simple.
Here's our bracket that we've come up with. This is just so I can go on the Fusion 360 and like build it out. But essentially it fits around that tube in here, and then it's gonna fit along the side of the intercooler, and then we just have to weld tabs on the intercooler and drill 2 holes and put bolts in it. So go make this in Fusion 360, cut it out on the arc droid. Hopefully it looks a lot better, and then we'll have 2 brackets. Working on my drawing. These have to be at these angles too, because the arc droid. I love this thing.
You got it?
Yeah, I got it. My Princess Auto Plate. Only the best around here. It's a little bit thick, because Princess Auto doesn't want to sell like 1/8 pieces of metal, but if it's gonna mess up at all, you can see where it's. I wonder if it's because the heater tried to kick in.
Oh no!
We definitely got lucky in the fact that I can just cut this straight with a grinder now, and it only affects like the one side right here. So we still save this piece because I don't know how to like restart the program from like
A
pause position. Yeah,
It
so
was just about to do the straight line and the power cut out.
now I need to see if this is gonna fit.
I guess so. You might want to test it before you try it.
Just before I cut it second.
Yeah.
Seems like I severely miscalculated somewhere.
What do you mean?
It's too long.
Oh.
By a lot. I added the length of what I wanted plus the whole length of the circle instead of the length that I wanted plus half the length of the circle.
Oh. Well, you know what? Now maybe you'll get to make a whole bracket without it like stopping in the middle. Oh yeah.
So my stupid brand new air compressor stopped working, and I basically need this to cut because you can't cut a plasma cutter without compressed air. For whatever reason, it just doesn't want to switch on. Now I put it in different power plugs around the shop, and it just doesn't want to turn on. So I have no idea what's wrong with it. Whatever it is, it's in the switch mechanism that doesn't like activate it. Sucks to be me right now. It actually ran out of like air pressure as I was using it. So we got our next bracket, you know, kind of where we needed it, and it was going to come out awesome. But I was looking at the air pressure, and as soon as it dipped below like 40, it just didn't do anything anymore. So screwed. Alright, so something messed up in the programming with the second hole in both of them, but like 2 intercooler brackets, I love the plasma cutter. So these things are going to fit precisely. Gonna have to put on gloves because they're still hot, but precisely on the frame in here. There, I took the bumper cover off, and it's really easy to see where our brackets go now because they just bolt. Well, they don't bolt, but we're gonna weld them in this area right here, and then we're just gonna weld a plate on the intercooler, and then they're just gonna bolt up on the sides. The Arctroid is really cool for making custom little brackets like this that, you know, I could have made this by hand, but it would take me like forever. This took me like some design time on my PC. No big deal. Just leave it to me to work like on the floor when I have a brand new lift over there. To put the car that I'm working on not on the lift, kind of silly, Kyle. Everything's got to be TIG welded. There you go, a couple of intercooler brackets welded onto the chassis side. It's funny because that's something that's going to be like hidden away. No one's going to see it, but I know it's there, and I know that I want to do a good job on that. So the camera recorded it, so I did a good job. Thanks, guys. Alrighty, cut them some aluminum on the Arctroid as well. And that just corresponds with our piece in there, and I think that's going to look really great, especially when you look at it from this side too. Yeah, that's going to look really good, guys. So I'm going to get some tack welds on that so it doesn't move out of place. Do the other side, pull the intercooler off, and then completely weld up those brackets. Oh yeah, I'll take that. That's one of my better like intercooler mounting solutions. Hey, and there we have it. So it took me a little bit longer than I wanted to, just because I wanted to have cool brackets, but just need a couple of bolts to bolt it in, and I think that's gonna be a really clean install. Now this might look a little bit funny, but I'm just trying to see if we have enough room for this big single turbo, because the 76mm that I'm gonna use is essentially the same size as this anyways, but I'm just trying to see if we have enough space to run a single turbo, or if we're gonna have to run twin turbos. Alright, so I have a rough idea of where I want the turbo to go, and a rough idea of where I want the radiator to go. So I'm gonna pull the radiator out, clean it up. I thought about getting a new radiator, but I might be able to save this one, so I'm gonna pull it out, see if I can clean this one up. If I can't, I'm gonna steal the one from this for now, which honestly, it looks bigger. I might just steal that one anyways. Then I'll mount that one. I'll get another one to go back in the Hemi Fox because that one needs to be modified anyways. You know what? That one is better. It is thicker. I'm going to use that one. I don't want any cooling issues. Cooling issues have been like the bane of my existence since I've started building cars. Like every car, Tokyo's car, Gina's car, my car, they all ran hot at some point. I don't want that. And I think I'm going to mount it the same way that we mounted the intercooler with some custom brackets that just come off the tube front. So intercooler, or the radiator is going to stand here. We'll build like smaller mounts off the side. We'll plasma cut those, and we'll get the radiator mounted, and I think that's going to be good for us. Dang, man, look at me go. Done some nice brackets right there, man. I'm gonna use 3/8 bolts because, you know, I use 3/8 bolts on the intercooler. There's our radiator brackets. They're a little bit like narrower than our intercooler brackets back there, but same concept basically. I think it's just gonna keep things looking a little bit clean. The only problem I can see right now is that if this hangs low enough in the front, the intercooler and the radiator, there's nothing really supporting it from the bottom. So if we do a wheelie and it comes down, it has the potential to nip the intercooler and the radiator first just because of how low it hangs. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. Alrighty, good news. So I take everything that's holding everything together right now because I have it all bolted together. It is all in place. Radiator, intercooler. I love the fact that we have like an upright radiator now because that's just going to be a whole game changer. Trying to keep this thing cool. This one's also slightly bigger, so I like that as well. We can add some tabs to mount it from the top here as well, but I think our welded tabs on the side are going to be plenty. And now we have all this room to work with right here to build us a turbo kit. This is roughly where I want the turbo to be. It's honestly, once I clock it, it's almost exactly right where this fitting is, this ORB fitting. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull this fitting out, I'm gonna cut it right there, I'm gonna weld a straight bar on it, put it on a Maven mount, and I'm just gonna bolt that back in and then put this back on, and that should hang from our water pump bracket right here. And that's just temporary, so I can weld and mock everything up to it, and then I'll just have to make a brace once the exhaust is done. A brace from the bottom up to the top. I don't know if it's gonna work exactly how I plan it, but I planned it, so it's gotta work, right? This is our ORB fitting right here. This side gets threaded in. There's a little O-ring right here. I'll just get another one of these for the water pump, but I'm gonna cut it off straight right there, get a piece of tube, weld that up flat. And I have a turbo brace somewhere. I just have to find it, and this should be really simple, and it doesn't need to be complicated. Alrighty, now with any luck, I have the thing screwed into the water pump just temporarily. This should be close to the right length. That's pretty damn close to what I want. And there's our homemade mount. So I have to weld it up. And this jam nut should keep it from like spinning or rotating. I'm hoping the best. And then I'm hoping that this thing is strong enough to like, you know, I think it is. It's built aluminum. So pull that off, weld that up, and then we can get the turbo in place for the last time. Hey, look at me being all innovative and stuff. I'm honestly just gonna yeet this on here and hope for the best, to be honest. Oh yeah, that's solid. That is solid. That's gonna be so nice for fabricating. It's not in the way of anything. It's solid. It's not moving anywhere. Game changer. It's very application specific though. Like it. This is how we're looking at the moment, and honestly, I really like this. If you look at it right here, the exhaust is gonna go out this way. This pipe has to circle up into the exhaust. That pipe has to circle up in the exhaust. This one has to go down to the intercooler, and then out the intercooler, and up into the throttle body. So it's gonna look, you know, pretty clean. I'm gonna try my best to make it clean. The coils do have to come up from the bottom onto the valve covers. And we're hoping to just shed a little bit of weight and move weight where it needs to be and not have to run water anymore. So as much as I love building things, I love racing just as much. So why don't I try and do that this year? So I made it a point to myself to try and get to the States at least for a few races, which Texas 2K is gonna be one of them. I'd love to do a drag and drive in the States as well. And we're still gonna try and do limited street, make it to at least 2 of those events. So we have a plan and we're building the car according to a couple rule sets. And I just hope it's gonna be our universal backup car. And then the stick shift car, obviously the Hemi Fox, which I have to say this on camera, I did flip the heads the wrong way, so I do have to unbolt them, flip them the other way, and then the better of me went ahead and bought some ARP head studs, so I'm waiting for those. So I've got to flip the heads because they only bolt on certain ways. I didn't realize that they were reversible in the Hemi. Like an LS, you can take a head off the left and put it on the right. Hemi, you can't do that. They're left and right specific. Anyways, I love you guys. I'm gonna keep you guys updated on the car content. This is just what I really enjoy doing, and it tore a little bit out of me to keep doing the Formula Car. It is gonna come back eventually, but I honestly needed a break from it. It's mentally tough for me to do that thing. I love you guys. Merry Christmas. Peace easy. Get Debbie.